Story 1. I think caring for your partner when they are most vulnerable creates a deeper level of intimacy than sex. Story 2. Most probably sharing your true self, all your fears, insecurities, feelings, and little joys. The things that excite you or make you cry. That is the most intimate thing. Takes immense trust and knowing you will not be judged. I have also heard that even most married couples do not truly know each other or can fully open up to each other. Story 3. Simply sit and look into each other's eyes. When it is with the person you trust and love, it is like they are looking into your soul. Story 4. Most intimate is probably the last moment if it can be spent holding another person's hand, loving them, and letting them know you are there and it is safe to let go of this world. Story 5. The most intimate thing two people can do often goes beyond anything physical. It is about being completely open, vulnerable, and accepted. It is those quiet moments where you share your fears, insecurities, and dreams, knowing the other person will not judge you. It is sitting in silence and still feeling connected, or being cared for during your lowest moments. True intimacy appears when you let someone see the parts of you that are not polished or perfect, and they choose to stay. It is built through trust, patience, and a willingness to support each other, even when things are not easy. That kind of closeness is rare, and when you have it, it is powerful. Story 6. Many comments mention sex or taking care of each other, but I have to be honest, just coexisting, doing mundane things together, even if it is just lying in bed, is valuable. It would take months or years to reach that stage, and being in it and appreciating it is one of the best things I could ask for. Story 7. After sex, lying in bed naked or partially clothed, talking about life, love, the future, hopes, dreams, and desires. Story 8. Writing a song and performing it together is a very intimate experience. It requires vulnerability and putting yourself out there. You will hear each other suggest bad ideas, corny lyrics, and annoying melodies. You will try to hit notes and sometimes miss them. You will struggle to find harmonies. Yet, when performing live, you must support each other. It is more intimate than you might think. Story 9. I think it is about being completely honest and real with each other. Not pretending, not playing roles, just being yourself. Sharing something deeply personal that no one else knows. Or even just lying next to each other in silence, holding each other, and feeling totally at peace. Honestly, even falling asleep together can feel incredibly intimate. Story 10. Vulnerability to the point where they are telling you their whole life or you tell them every tiny detail you love about them, opening up to them fully. I just watched the Rent a Girlfriend anime, and the last arc shows this in a really good way. I was tearing up and I almost never do that. Share passwords. Just look into each other's eyes. The eyes are the windows to the soul after all. Story 11. I was at my wife's side 24 hours a day as she died. I had to lift her out of bed onto the toilet. I had to clean up vomit, blood, and worse. I loved her so fiercely in her last weeks. It was horrific, but by far the most intimate time in our 19-year marriage. Story 12. Kind of lame but truly communicating. My husband and I are married with children. We had some really dark times, as in discussing divorce. We allowed hate to slip into our marriage. Together, we had to pull ourselves out and fight for it. Remember, we are on the same team, and that is by far the most intimate thing I have experienced. Fighting for our marriage when it felt like fate was against us. He is my best friend, and I love him with all my heart. Getting married is easy. Staying happily married is where the real hard work takes place. Story 13. My husband watched me endure cancer treatments and surgeries twice. We endured difficult fertility treatments and losses together, and we cannot have children. When we both had to do our colonoscopy preparations, we threw all caution to the wind because we had no more concern to give during that out-of-body experience. Story 14. My wife is currently pregnant with quadruplets and will be having a cesarean section. I will be there with her. She will have local anesthesia on her lower body, so when they deliver the babies, we can see them together. I cannot think of anything more intimate than that moment, the birth of our children. Story 15. Two people sitting cuddled into each other in public having a conversation, immersed in their own little world. It usually makes me angry when I walk past, so I know it is cutely intimate. Story 16. It's more than sex. It's undressing each other slowly, holding deep, direct eye contact, memorizing every inch of each other's bodies with fingertips, eyes, lips, and tongues. It's being able to recognize the taste of their sweat, burying my face into every crease of you just to relish the way our scents combine. It's breathing you in and swallowing parts of your soul spilling into bits of my own. It's somewhere within the becoming. Two bolts of light swimming through one another. Somewhere beyond that barrier that separates you into two people. It's taking you inside any part of my body that will allow it. Feeling you sliding through the warmth of me. Accepting the pulse of you. Feeling from the center of me beating in time with you. Every escaping breath slightly tinted with a moan. Those moans, every single one, become contracts binding myself to you, digging my claws into the idea of taking my time while fighting every urge to make haste because I just can't get enough. Story 17. Have a psychedelic trip, honestly. You will learn so much about them and vice versa if you get high and talk. Story 18. Vulnerability, being open and showing your weaknesses to someone, is the greatest act of intimacy for me. Story 19. Fall in love, get married, have a baby, and then finally be together for the birth of that child. As a husband, nothing in my life will ever compare to the feeling of seeing the culmination of my partners and my love creating a new person. I am sure that is the most loving and powerful moment I can ever experience. Story 20. For me, it was staring into each other's eyes alone, in silence, and not looking away. Something that is very hard for me. Story 21. My mom had a stroke in 2009. She was in her late 30s and my dad was in his early 40s. Mom is now paralyzed on the left side, and dad has been doing her hair every single day since then. They have been together for over 30 years. He has learned all kinds of updos. There is something beautiful about growing up watching my dad brush my mom's hair and create beautiful hairstyles for her when she cannot do them herself. He enjoys doing it and loves her in her purest form. Story 22. Years ago, I attended a mandated training that I mostly forget. As part of it, we were paired up and forced to make constant, unbroken eye contact with our partner for 3 minutes. It was one of the most intense experiences I have ever had. My partner was a middle-aged woman, and I saw everything. Every emotion, her entire past, her struggles, her pain, and her love. It was incredible. Then we simply moved on to the next activity. I will never forget that. Story 23. Really think about sex because it is kind of wild. You are inside someone or letting them be inside you. Putting all your guards down to share that with another person while fully naked. I mean, we can talk about emotions, but it is the only correct answer. Story 24. Sex is nothing more than sex. Giving your body to another is the most vulnerable and intimate thing you can do. Pornography and casual sex have ruined this. Now, you can pay $5 and see anything you want. People no longer value their bodies, which are their sacred temples. Story 25. Brushing our teeth together in the morning feels like such a small thing, but it is oddly intimate. Just standing there with sleepy eyes, sharing the sink, no need to talk. It is not about romance, just comfort, the kind that makes you feel like you are home. Story 26. Being open with each other about things that bother them without being judged. Feeling comforted by a person who feels like home. Story 27. Secretly observe him through smart glass without his knowledge, and without revealing that you are his girlfriend. Story 28. Let someone see you sick, like really sick, snotty, sweaty, hoodie over eyes kind of sick, and they still kiss your forehead? Soulmate. Story 29. For me, childbirth was significant. Although our children were delivered by cesarean section and I did not have an open vaginal delivery, the entire recovery process afterward created a new level of intimacy for my husband and me. Story 30. Being there for each other during the worst of times. It is easy to be together when times are good, but to share your love during the worst times is another level of love and intimacy. Not just between romantic partners either. I was with one of my good friends in the hospital when the doctor came out and told us his father was not going to make it. I held on to him as long as I have held onto my wife and just let him express himself. Story 31. Travel together for an extended period of time. My wife is the only person I have ever met with whom I can go on months-long adventures without serious conflict. Story 32. Be there for each other in sickness. And I mean the unpleasant stuff: vomit buckets, sweaty fevers, runny noses, the whining, all of it. Story 33. Cliché, but there is truth to it. Make a baby. The most incredible thing I love about my marriage with my husband is the two boys we brought into the world together and my daughter whom he adopted as his own. The most intimate part of us is our love for expanding our family. Our kids make us happy, and we love each other more deeply every day because of them. So yes, cliché lovey-dovey answer, but it is real for me. Story 34. After 28 years of marriage, one of the most intimate things we do is communicate without words. We can have whole conversations from opposite sides of a room, and no one else ever knows. It is just us, even in the most crowded public spaces. Story 35. Care genuinely about each other for the rest of their lives. However, that does not happen to a small, fearful person who is not of this world, as I happen to be. Story 36. My boyfriend just got contact lenses. I have been a lifelong wearer. The first 5 or 6 times he wore them, I put them in for him. I held his eyelids open with one hand and maneuvered the lens onto his bare eyeball while he flinched a lot. It took 5 to 15 minutes to put each one in. But now we are very close and he can do it himself. He says that without me, he never could have done it. Story 37. Hands down, not even close. Vulnerability means sharing your deepest truths and secrets. Any other answer is a lie. Our egos are the most precious. Story 38. The only true currency in this bankrupt world is what you share with someone else when you are uncool. Philip Seymour Hoffman as Lester Bangs in Almost Famous. Story 39. Staying beside you when you gain or lose weight, lose your hair, undergo infertility treatments, and battle cancer. Holding your hand and telling you you are the most beautiful woman in the world. True story. He still holds my hand wherever we go. Story 40. My partner and I are 22 years old and live in the same apartment. On the night of my birthday, a couple of my friends, including him and me, went bowling and followed it up with dinner. When we were all in the car on the way home at around 12:30 a.m., he whispered in my ear that he would like me to come to his house for a cuddle session. I agreed instantly because I was leaving for the United States the next day for a month and a half. Immediately after returning from the United States, I would be moving to another city to start work and begin long distance again. For context, we have been in a long-distance relationship for almost 3 years now. When we got to our apartment, he tried to open his door, but we realized he had misplaced his keys. My parents were asleep at my place, and we did not want to go there. So we ended up sitting on the stairs and talking. I still think back to those 2 hours because at one point we admitted how simply talking felt like we were holding each other, and even better, having sex. We spoke about his family, mine, my birthdays growing up, what he was doing at work, how we feel about long distance, and how we need each other to get through each day. I know this might not be the most intimate thing, but when I look back, I think holding hands with him as he was sitting on the stairs and I was standing across from him while talking has been the most beautiful time I have had with him. I love my boyfriend so much. Story 41. Lying in bed in each other's arms, face to face after making love, naked to feel the warmth of his body, feeling safe while gently caressing each other, sharing soft kisses, staying up late, sharing intimate stories, laughing together, and wishing the moment would never end. Story 42. Grooming. He is brushing and plaiting her hair while she is sitting on his lap, trimming his beard and eyebrows. Story 43. I don't know, but sitting in a large tub together with our heads back, eyes closed, and relaxing is very enjoyable. Story 44. Discuss sensitive topics openly. Share fears and worries with each other without fear of judgment or consequences. Story 45. Tell them about the resentment you hold towards them and give them a genuine opportunity to show up differently. That is a tall order. Story 46. If a person has a favorite movie that the other has not seen, Sharing that movie with them is enjoyable. Story 47. My ex used to rub her face with mine. It was very intimate. I do not know where she got that idea, but it was something. Story 48. Cooking together. There is something about kitchens and how being in someone else's kitchen feels intimate. They can be just watching you cook, sitting on the counter, or simply by your side talking about their day. Knowing where the colander is, looking for a cup without asking where to find it, fetching the tomato from the fridge. Cooking is a love language, and doing it together feels very intimate. Also, holding hands. Story 49. I just had outpatient surgery last week. My husband took off my surgical gown and gently put my clothes on me to head home. It was not a glamorous moment despite the nakedness. However, he cared for me so carefully, and I had absolute trust in him to keep me safe. I also knew he was advocating for me with the nurses, and I never once had to worry about my best interests. Story 50. When both show who they really are, sit together in silence, have good and bad days, forgive each other, and help each other grow, the intimacy comes more intensely. Sorry, English is not my native language, but I hope everyone knows what I mean. Story 51. Besides sexual activity, acts of grooming such as bathing each other, cleaning nails, and popping pimples, as well as going to the bathroom, making eye contact, and talking together. Story 52. A mutual exchange occurs when semen is involved and an egg is fertilized. Oral stimulation is more intimate if swallowing is involved, but that is one-sided. Two men engaging in mutual oral stimulation in the 69 position is also close but lacks the creation of life. The emotional connection between two women is beautiful and intimate, but in a very different way. Story 53. Love them not unconditionally, but the kind of love you have because they are a good person, your person, and you love them despite their faults. All the giggles, inside jokes, hard times, good times, snuggles and fights. All of it. Story 54. I think the most intimate thing two people can do is actually sleep, not have sex with someone. You have let them be with you in your personal space when you are at your most vulnerable time. Story 55. Dating another wounded person after divorce when both of you are terrified, traumatized, and jaded, yet still manage to be vulnerable with each other. That choice and hope after heartache I found was very intimate. Too bad it was for nothing. Story 56. Once, I spent 3 days in a small cabin on a boat in Egypt with my boyfriend. We both had extremely upset stomachs, one bathroom to share, both vomiting and using the toilet. We had to use the toilet, sink, and bidet. It doesn't get much more intimate than that. Giving birth with a partner at the business end was a close second. Story 57. In Brazil, at night, the streets are dark. If you see two men on a motorcycle coming toward you, you are probably in danger. Story 58. I find giving massages very intimate, as well as dancing with someone. Taking care of each other when we are sick is important too. My friend held my hand and made jokes while I was sick, and I loved her even more. Story 59. Many options come to mind, including telling each other the truth. No masks, no make-believe, just honesty. However, there are many options here. Story 60. Staying silent and feeling the wind together. They are not doing anything. They are just living together in the same time and place, seeing things but perceiving them differently. They do not need to fill any void, just enjoying it. Story 61. It usually is not. Can be confusing at times, though. In my experience, trying to do it with my ex rarely went smoothly. It looks like we were not the only ones to have this experience. Story 62. I think true intimacy is when two people can be completely vulnerable with each other, sharing their fears, dreams, and insecurities, and still feeling accepted and loved. Physical closeness is one thing, but emotional closeness is on another level. Story 63. Giving someone a sensual bath. Wash their hair. Consider the environmental surroundings, including all senses. Be gentle with longing and desire. Story 64. Eye contact. I have been consumed with just eye contact. He stripped me bare, felt desire and want. He also tore me down with just one look. destroyed me with his beautiful eyes, left empty and fractured. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.